Have you ever felt a pull, a whisper of something off? A deal too good to be true? It starts with a simple desire, a longing for a place to call home. But sometimes, the most enticing doors hide the darkest secrets. This is the story of Poirot and the adventure of the cheap flat, a tale that began not with a scream, but with a suspiciously low rent. I was enjoying an evening with Gerald Parker, a man obsessed with London flats. He didn't just live in them, he hunted them, moving on a whim, always searching for the next bargain. He treated house hunting like a sport, a game of skill and cunning. We listened, fascinated, as he detailed his latest conquests, the subtle art of negotiation, the thrill of the find. But the conversation, inevitably, drifted towards the impossible, finding a decent flat in post-war London at a reasonable price. Then Mrs. Robinson spoke. A new acquaintance, a charming bride, she'd stumbled upon a miracle, a flat in Montague Mansions, offered at a mere £80 a year. £80. A price that made even Parker pause. It was absurd. Montague Mansions was known for its extravagance, its high society residence. This didn't make sense. But Montague Mansions is just off Knightsbridge, isn't it? Parker asked, his brow furrowed. Surely you mean some lesser building, a shadow of the real thing. No, Mrs. Robinson insisted, a flicker of unease in her eyes. It is the Knightsbridge one. That's what makes it so wonderful. Almost too wonderful. A seed of doubt was planted. A catch. There always was. Parker, ever the pragmatist, immediately suspected a hidden premium, a secret clause. But there was none. Just a ridiculously low rent, and the stipulation to purchase the existing furniture for a mere £50. Lunatics, Parker declared, shaking his head. The occupants must be lunatics with a philanthropic streak, but Mrs. Robinson's unease lingered. A shadow crossed her face. It is rather queer, isn't it? I can't shake the feeling. What if the place is haunted? Parker scoffed at the suggestion, dismissing it with a wave of his hand. But I, Captain Hastings, found myself intrigued. Something about the story felt wrong. It wasn't a grand, dramatic wrongness, but a subtle discordance, a note out of tune. I shared my suspicions with Parker later, and he, ever the enthusiast, saw an opportunity. He questioned me relentlessly about rents, locations, the intricacies of the London property market. He was like a coiled spring, gathering energy, preparing to pounce. Then he announced, with a glint in his eye, that he needed a walk. He returned hours later, radiating an almost unsettling excitement. He brushed the nap of his hat with meticulous care, a habit of his when deep in thought. Hastings, he said, his voice low and deliberate, we have a case. A most unusual case. What investigation are you talking about, Poirot? I asked, bewildered. The remarkable cheapness of your friend Mrs. Robinson's new flat, I laughed. Surely you're not serious. Most serious, Hastings. Consider this. The actual rental value of those flats is at least £350. I have confirmed it with the landlord's agents. And yet this particular flat is being sublet for £80. Why? He paused, letting the question hang in the air. It was a simple question, but it resonated with a chilling clarity. Something was terribly wrong. Perhaps it is haunted, I offered weakly. Poirot shook his head dismissively. No, Hastings. The explanation is far more human and more dangerous. He turned his gaze upon me, his eyes piercing. Tell me, Hastings, describe Mrs. Robinson, but do not dwell on her beauty. Focus on the details. What did you observe? I stammered, attempting to recall her features. Well, she's tall, fair, beautiful, almond-shaped hair, blue eyes. Poirot interrupted me. Always the hair, mon ami. Always the superficial. Continue. A nice complexion, and that's all, I think. And her husband, oh, he's quite nice. Nothing startling. Average, I suppose. Darkish hair and ordinary face. Poirot nodded slowly. Yes. Average. There are hundreds of these average men. But tell me, Hastings, were you truly observing Mrs. Robinson, or were you simply appreciating her? I flushed. He had a way of seeing right through me. Do you suspect something, Poirot? I suspect a story. A story that requires unraveling. He paused, his eyes glinting with a dangerous curiosity. Her name, Hastings. What does her name mean? Stella, I said, confused. Robinson Stella. I don't see. Poirot burst into laughter, a booming sound that startled me. Stella means star, does it not? A star gives light. Voila. Think, Hastings, think. He declared with sudden purpose that we were going to Montague Mansions. We were going to make inquiries. The mansions lived up to their reputation, imposing, elegant, and meticulously maintained. The porter, a dour man with a suspicious gaze, reluctantly confirmed that a Mr. and Mrs. Robinson had resided at number 4 for 6 months. 6 months? I reeled, stunned. Impossible, I exclaimed, conscious of Poirot's knowing grin. You must be mistaken. The porter repeated his statement, unwavering. 6 months. The lady, she has reddish gold hair. 6 months. The implication was staggering. Mrs. Robinson had lied. But why? What was she hiding? Poirot, as always, was several steps ahead. He secured a temporary lease on a flat on the 4th floor, directly above the Robinsons. I make money nowadays, he explained dismissively when I protested. Why should I not indulge a whim? Something interesting is about to happen, Hastings. Something very interesting. He even asked if I carried a revolver, a chilling detail that sent a shiver down my spine. He insisted it might be necessary. The following days were filled with a tense anticipation. We listened, we observed. We became shadows in the hallways of Montague Mansions, waiting for the truth to reveal itself. Then on Sunday afternoon, the opportunity arose. A faint scratching sound, followed by muffled voices. We descended into the building's coal lift, a claustrophobic descent into darkness. Poirot had skillfully manipulated the bolts, allowing us to enter the Robinsons' flat undetected. We found ourselves in a state of anxious waiting, listening to every creak and groan of the building. Hours passed, stretching into an eternity. Finally, just as I was beginning to drift off to sleep, a sound pierced the silence, the distinct click of a lock being picked. Poirot's hand gripped my arm. Outside the front door, he whispered. They are cutting out the lock, he gave the signal. We sprang forward, silently and swiftly. I tackled the intruder from behind, wrestling him to the ground. Poirot secured his head with a scarf, effectively silencing him. It was a brutal, efficient takedown. We disarmed him, discovering a dagger hidden in his hand. As Poirot leaned in to question him, I noticed something horrifying. The man was Italian. Poirot, with his usual composure, calmly questioned the captive. The man, realizing his situation was hopeless, began to confess. The story that unfolded was a tale of stolen naval plans, international espionage, and a woman named Elsa Hart, a cunning, ruthless spy who had vanished after a theft in America. Mrs. Robinson, it turned out, was Elsa Hart in disguise, using the name to lay low and await contact with her Japanese counterparts. The Italian was a messenger sent to deliver instructions. But Poirot, with his brilliant deductions, had anticipated their move, turning their trap into one of their own. It was clear from the first, Poirot explained, that only the Robinsons were considered suitable. They offered the flat at an absurdly low rental, knowing that someone would take the bait. They were waiting for their contact, for the moment to strike. He revealed that Mrs. Robinson hadn't been seeking a home, but a safe house, a place to orchestrate her next move. The suspiciously low rent was a lure, a way to attract attention without raising suspicion. "The Avenger arrives," Poirot said, his voice laced with satisfaction. "He knows the name, he knows the address. He strikes. And Mrs. Elsa Hart escapes once more. As the police arrived, summoned by Poirot, the true Mrs. Robinson, the real Elsa Hart, attempted to escape. But Poirot had anticipated her move, having alerted the authorities. She was apprehended, her reign of deception finally at an end. The case was closed. The stolen plans were recovered. And once again, Poirot had triumphed, not through brute force, but through the power of observation, deduction, and an unwavering pursuit of the truth. But the story lingers, doesn't it? A reminder that appearances can be deceiving, that even the most enticing opportunities can conceal a sinister purpose. It begs the question, how often do we fail to see the truth, blinded by our own desires, our own assumptions? How many hidden dangers lurk beneath the surface of the ordinary, waiting to ensnare the unsuspecting? The adventure of the cheap flat is a testament to the power of vigilance, the importance of questioning everything, and the enduring mystery of the human heart. For even in the search for a simple home, we may stumble upon a world of intrigue, deception, and the darkest of secrets. And sometimes, the most valuable thing we can possess is not a roof over our heads, but a mind open to the truth.